little nervous about this bag.
All right, you should be worried because these guys have put it together many times and over again. They're going to come in with over 16.
I gotta send this to my That's a good 7-8 pounder or more. Just do it. And then on the
I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna be walking off this stage in a second. I don't want to break the suspense, but he's got some big fish for you guys. Wait till you guys see this.
The question I got for you, 33 pounds. You feel comfortable?
He's never been on that lake, never knew that lake, didn't know what type of fishing was. Totally different than the Kawarthas.
But Steve's so dedicated. He'll fish for hours and hours.
Right, well, that was the first thing. He was on the phone to me before he even weighed in. He says, "Dad, I did it." So he was, after that, he was sparked right up.
We were all pretty proud.
Oh yeah, we were proud.
We were pretty proud.
At the beginning, when I'm trying to figure out a pattern, what type of weeds they're on, I'll move around fairly quickly, spot to spot, throw the punch bait pretty quick. And when you get your first bite, you kind of build on that. Small guys for now. Good little chunk. I don't know if he's still on. Yeah, they're going after it today. That's my middle name.
Is your middle name?
Yeah, Steve Martin Stinson. Yeah, basically the way I started was I didn't even know about tournaments in Canada at all. I liked fishing so much and loved it so much. I went out and bought a bass boat and started fishing, and ended up I was fishing on Rice Lake one day and bumped into the guys from Downtown Bass. And I said, "Why is all these guys out here? Why they're weighing fish in? What is this?" And actually, one of the members was a friend of mine from high school, Basil. And he said, "Steve, why aren't you fishing? You got a bass boat? Come join the club." So that's how I started. I just started fishing club tournaments. All right, let's move on. Better fish. Right from the thick stuff. Well, they're aggressive today, so as later on the day when the sun is around noon, the fish are gonna congregate to those mats, and that'll protect their eyes from the sun. And hopefully we can find some mats with some bait fish on them, and then usually we can go through a few fish on that mat, because in the Kawarthas I find that when there's one under a mat with some good depth under it, there'll be a few more with it. Gotta weed through the small ones first. The largemouth will get your boat dirty. Smallmouth don't do this. Yeah, that's why he wasn't very big. That's a better one. No. Yeah. One more? There's a 6-pounder. Is he in here too? Nope. Getting smaller, you're supposed to get bigger. They're taking turns down there. Okay, go back there, I'll catch you again. Winded here. There's more down there. Got to be like at least 20 down there.
Can you put a mark on them to make sure?
All cookie cutters.
What kind of salad dressing do you like?
I like a good Russian or French. Pre-fishing, I found a stretch of mats that were, it was probably about 3-4 miles long. And what I did was I spent about 5 days on it, because the first area that I got onto in the mats produced one of the biggest fish that I caught down there. Was over 10 pounds. And I said, honestly, if you catch one, let's try to duplicate that in that same area. And I did, with a couple 7s and 8s during practice. So what I did was I spent a lot of time punching the mat and figuring out the sweet spots of the mat, the hard bottom, the deeper water areas, and the good vegetation. So when I was in the tournament, I was able to drive directly to these mats that were producing for that particular week, and really dial it in and not waste time trying to figure out where the fish were on those mats. I didn't have to adjust very much in that tournament. They were still stacked the same way that I was catching them in practice, so I had a lot of confidence. I got the first 2 fish of the day were by 8:30 in the morning, and there were 6s. So every fish in the bag, like the biggest one in the bag was 7 pounds, but they're all 6 and change. Oh, it was amazing. Like, you get up on stage, like first of all, was trying to carry one of those bags up with the bag full of water. I was out of breath there, because there's a fair, it's quite a long walk up on Okeechobee. You gotta probably walk for about a minute or two, but you're carrying this bag, and one of the people in the audience said, "Let me get you a wheelbarrow for that bag." And I started laughing, and so I got up there, and I was lucky. I was probably within the top 30 people to weigh in for the day, so I was lucky to see one of the anglers from Canada was in the crowd, Mike Brown, and he was able to take a few pictures of the fish out there. And I looked right at him and walked right up, and he started smiling for me, and it was a good feeling to have somebody from Canada there. That's a healthy fish. So I went up on stage and I weighed 32.10. A nice lady came up to me and said, "Oh, my husband and my son fish on this lake, and you know what, I'd like you to meet them after." And then I got called up for the ceremony for the awards. So I said, yeah, no, that'd be great. I'll come over and talk to you after. And so I came off the stage, and there she was. She said, "Oh, come over. I'd love for you to meet my husband and son." And I walk over with her, and it was Scott and Roland Martin. And I was shocked, and I'm like, "Oh, you must be Mary Ann." And she started laughing, right? So it was a good experience. Great 2 guys there. We talked for a little bit, and you know, exchanged numbers, and couldn't ask for better people out there. Okay, the basic punch rig that I like to throw, here's the exact rig that I threw down in Okeechobee, is use a bobber stop. Put 2 of them on there. Weight first. Then your punch skirt. When you do your snell knot, key to this is always going through the top of the bait. So you go through the top of your bait, like so, pull it tight, leave about that much slack, tie a big circle, and what you want to do is, on your tag end here, you just want to keep wrapping it around above the barb. Hold on, let's try that again. Above the barb. And the best way is try to get those wraps. Try not to overlap them if you can. Make it look pretty. Because if it bunches up, it actually takes away from the barb on the hook, and your plastics will actually slip off a little bit. So 5 or 6 times. Always wet it, and always pull the side that's going to your reel. Never pull your tag end. Make sure you pull it tight. And what I like to do is, when I tie this rig, I never use scissors. So what I do is I always go with a nice lighter. And burn off the end. And what it does is it leaves a little bead just in case it's going to slip through that heavy cover. So then you pull your rig back down. Straighten it out. Grab your soft plastic. Just on the tip of the bait. Just go through about 1/2 inch, slide it up and twist it over your barb. and it's going to be Texas rigged. Slide that up and like so. And that is a done deal.